this is James Tripp. Welcome to this webinar, which is the 5 key qualities of successful hypno-creators. Thank you all for attending. I can see there's a whole bunch of people from all over the world, particularly strong contingent from the US. So thank you all for joining me here. If you're listening to this, you will have seen one of the videos that I put out recently referring to my 10 years of freedom and also sharing some ideas around what it means to be a hypno-creator. And I'm going to talk a bit about what that means, what that term hypno-creator means. And I'm going to share with you 5 key qualities of a successful hypno-creator. Essentially, what being a hypno-creator is, it's all about you going out into the world with your skills, your abilities, your unique knowledge, and being able to leverage that to create multiple streams of income and a lifestyle that suits you. This is not about some sort of get-rich-quick thing. There's work to be done. People talk about passive income all the time. It's a nice concept. In my experience, there's no such thing as truly passive income, because as soon as you stop maintaining something, it starts to break down. But I'm going to share with you, if you're listening to this, you've got a love for hypnosis, you've got a love for NLP, for pragmatic psychology, and you want to make this the thing that you do, and you want to be able to create the kind of lifestyle you want from it, then this webinar is for you. Now, I want to say that this webinar is sponsored by the Power of 8 Hypno Creators Group, which is something I'm launching very, very soon, begins very soon. I'm going to give some details from time to time about that. But that's a private mentoring group for 8 people who are looking to become what I would call thought leaders and leveraged practitioners in this field. What that means, a thought leader, it's a well-bandied about term at the moment, but it means you go out into the world with your own ideas, your own intellectual property. You create things into the world that get interest from people, interest in people specifically who want to work with you or want to learn more from you or want to be coached by you, so that you're not just another coach, NLPer, or whatever. You become a unique individual practitioner. So this is what it means to be a thought leader. It means going out, sharing unique ideas, unique frames that resonate with people who are going to want to come and partake of your services, so to speak. And I've also used the term there, leveraged practitioner. Now, this is an interesting term, leveraged practitioner. I think of what I do as leveraged, is running a leveraged practice. A practice is a little bit different from a business. A business is a thing that you set up and it kind of runs itself. A practice is a business that is built around your particular unique sets of skills and understandings and abilities. Now, a leveraged practice is one that enables you to earn multiple streams of income from doing sort of one set of things rather than just doing one stream of income. So, for example, a lot of people who are hypnotists will become hypnotherapists. They become hypnotherapy practitioners, but they're not really leveraged, because the only way that they can make any income is just through seeing client after client after client. And if you're trading your time for money, there's a limit on what's possible for you to create in terms of income. So this is what this is about. Excuse me, becoming a thought leader in the world of hypnosis, NLP, and pragmatic psychology, and a leveraged practitioner. And I've used the term hypno-creator here, and really, there's no limit here. You might not think of yourself as a hypnotist. It's not important. You might think of yourself as a coach. You might think of yourself as something else, an NLPer. I'm just using the term hypno-creator because I'm offering this through the Hypnosis Without Trance outlet, so to speak, and most of the people who subscribe to the Hypnosis Without Trance blog are hypnotists, people who are interested in hypnosis. But it's specifically for people who have an interest in hypnosis, NLP, or any other type of what I would call pragmatic psychology, which would include coaching. So let's have a look at these 5 key qualities. So I'm going to give you the 5 key qualities straight off the bat. You have to excuse me, my throat is a little bit on the crook at the moment, so I'm going to be probably coughing a little from time to time. So the 5 key qualities that we're looking at here are, to list them straight up, curiosity, creativeness, tenacity, ownership, and this is a difficult, I didn't know how to put this one, so I've put developmentiality. Now, this is a made-up word, developmentiality. It's the quality of being developmental. And there isn't a word that exists for this, so I've kind of had to make one up. So please forgive my artistic license with this. But we're going to go through them in order, and we're going to look at why people who are successful in going out there in the world, connecting what they do, who they are uniquely to the world in a way that makes people want to come and work with them and learn from them and be coached by them and this kind of thing, what it is that those people do. Because if you watch the 10 Years of Freedom video, I've done this, and I've done this for 10 years. I have personal experience, but also, in addition to that, through my own personal journey, I've met a lot of other people who are creating the lives that they want, creating multiple income streams through doing what they do, doing the thing that they love, the thing that's in their heart. And I've seen these qualities in all of them, in every single one. So we'll go through them in order. So to begin with, curiosity. Curiosity is a hugely important quality, and I think if you're listening to this, you've probably got it in spades already. Curiosity is important because it drives understanding. When kids want to find out about the world, it is their curiosity that drives them to experiment, to explore, to learn, to engage. And this is an important thing if you're going to be an independent practitioner, a leveraged practitioner of what you do, is you're driving your own life. Now, a lot of the time when people go to mainstream education, they get that curiosity sort of beaten out of them because they're told you don't get to follow what you're curious in. You have to do what we say you have to do. You have to study the curriculum. You have to learn the things that we say are important to you, because ultimately you're going to go out and you're going to work for somebody else, and you need to know how to sacrifice your own needs, wants, desires and curiosities in order to do the work that is assigned to you. So in a sense, mainstream education, I'm not going to make this a rant about mainstream education, but mainstream education is about inculcating obedience in people, and curiosity runs counter to obedience. Now, I'm going to guess that, okay, I'm sure plenty of people listening to this are in work of some form, working for somebody else. But you also have this curiosity for how hypnosis works, how the mind works. It's going to be different for each individual, but it's going to be a deep curiosity, a desire to understand something and to be able to do something specific with that understanding. And this curiosity is really important, because if you're going to be out there connecting your uniqueness to the world, you're going to want to be striving to be the best you can be all the time, to know as deeply as you can possibly know. What curiosity is also going to do is it's going to make you a thinker. And this is a really important thing. I would encourage everybody here listening to this to be a thinker. If you're learning hypnosis, don't just learn one person's story about how hypnosis works. Learn as much as you can. Learn different perspectives. Overlap one person's perspective with another and think for yourself. Use your curiosity to drive your thinking to get to the bottom of what's going on. Because it's through doing this, through becoming a thinker, that you're going to start to come up with your own ideas and your own frames for things, or at least your own unique ways of communicating ideas and frames. And this is a really important thing, because if you're going to become a leveraged practitioner, you need to start working with ideas and the power of ideas. You need to be able to put ideas out into the world in a way that resonate with people. And this is what enables you to connect with many, many people rather than just connecting with one. If you do change work or coaching, you can be very process driven. You can sit down with a person and take them through processes. But you cannot really do that in the same way when you're connecting messages out into the world. And this is a hugely important thing. So ideas are massively important, and your ideas are the building blocks of your understanding, and it's curiosity that drives you to develop this understanding. Something else I'm going to say here is, as you're working with these ideas, and this is going to segue into the next point, as you're working with your ideas that are going to make you a unique individual out there in the world communicating with many people, as you're working with your ideas, what I would suggest to you is you start teaching people stuff. Start teaching people stuff. You might do this if you're a practitioner, you work one-on-one with people. A lot of the work that I do is process-driven, but a lot of the work that I do with clients is psychoeducational. I'm teaching them things. I'm connecting them with understandings that are going to move their minds, that are going to shift their minds. Now, one of the things about being a leveraged practitioner is if you start working with the power of ideas with your clients, the ideas that you develop and the ways that you develop, the psychoeducational methods you develop with your clients, you can then start taking out into the world, delivering as messages to the world. This is a very powerful thing. So if you are just a process-based practitioner, I strongly recommend you start looking at the psychoeducational side of things as well, because it's much more leverageable in terms of being able to connect out there to the world. If you're listening to this, you undoubtedly, there is no way you're going to be here if you have not seen one of my YouTube videos. I've been doing YouTube videos, really, I think I put my first one up in 2009. So nearly 10 years I've been doing YouTube videos. And one of the things I constantly get back from people is people saying, this video has been a game changer for me. This has really changed things. I was in this situation, I was stuck, but I watched your video on X and boom. And I get feedback all the time. And the reason is because as a practitioner, I'm not just process-driven, I'm psychoeducationally driven. This means sharing understandings that shift perspectives and shift options and shift choices. So because I can do that, it's like I can do change work through my videos. This is important because the fact of the matter is if you're going to have people want to work with you, want to learn from you, you want to be able to move their minds. You want to be able to make a difference in their lives, whether they perceive it overtly or they just get a sense, do you know what? This stuff is helping me grow. The fact is you want to give them value up front. This is a key thing. Without understandings, without ideas, without ways of making sense of things and communicating those, you don't have any. And all of this is driven by curiosity. If you are not curious, you will not strive for deeper understanding. So curiosity is the key driver. That's point number one. So the second quality we're sharing here is the quality of creativeness. And this is the desire. When I say creativeness here, I've chosen this term creativeness rather than creativity or any of these things because it's very easy for people to misunderstand what this is about. This isn't about necessarily coming up with wonderful, unique things, although that is an incredible attribute to have as well. It is more specifically about the desire to bring things into being. The desire to bring things into being. This is what I'm talking about, creativeness. Perhaps creative drive would be a better term. It's the desire to bring things into being, which might be ideas, it might be businesses, it might be specific coaching programs. It's this kind of thing. It's bringing into the world something that wasn't there before, that is going to be of value to people that they can engage with. This is a hugely important thing, so this creative drive. And by the way, this ties in with what I've just been saying, because a lot of people don't realize it, but a way that you have of communicating a particular idea or point or perspective, this is a thing, this is a creation in my view, and it has a lot of power to it. Now, when people develop expertise in things, they naturally develop ways of talking about them, and the better they get at doing this, the better it is. But people tend to, and I've got a good sense that many people listening to this probably do this too. People tend to not see the value in what they create in terms of ideas and the framing of things and this sort of thing. They tend to just go, well, you know, it's just my way of explaining something or whatever. It doesn't seem like a big thing. One of the things that I often teach people when I'm mentoring people to become creators in the world, not necessarily within the area of hypnosis, but in the broader area, one of the things I often teach people is that they drip gold. And you drip gold too. I can guarantee this. You may be aware of it or you may not. Many people are not aware that they drip gold because we cannot really see our own gold as gold. This is one of the things that's absolutely huge. I'll tell you a little story about this in a moment. But we drip gold. And most of the time when we drip gold, that gold just drips away down the drain because we never collect it. We don't see the value in it and we don't collect it. But for somebody else, that thing that we just thought was, I don't know, nothing at all, is an absolute piece of gold. You have to learn to recognize the gold that you drip and collect it. You will do. If you have understandings about what you do and you can speak about those understandings, you have gold and you may not know it. This is a hugely important thing. And it's often very difficult for us to really recognize the value of what we have to offer when we want to bring things into the world. And this can disrupt the creative process. We might start to bring something into the world and go, yeah, but it's not that good because somebody else has done a better thing. This is a terrible mistake. I want to share a quick story with you here relating to a program I put out many years ago called Create Instant Change. And some people listening to this may have Create Instant Change, may have got that at the time. I agreed to do Create Instant Change with somebody else, a guy called Nathan Thomas. He used to run a blog called Keys to the Mind, although he sold that and has moved out of the hypnosis field. And we had an agreement. It was a contract. It was a signed contract to create this product together, Create Instant Change. And the idea was that Nathan was going to interview out of me the information. We were going to sit down. We were going to do it as a webinar series. He would interview it out of me, and we would sell it. And he set the ticket price because it was going out to his people. And it was quite an expensive webinar series. I can't remember exactly how much it was, but I felt that it was quite expensive, and I really wanted to give value. And I sort of put it all in Nathan's hands to get the value out of me. And to be truthful with you, the first session didn't go that well, in my view. I didn't think it went that well. So I pulled out the stops and I structured up something, and I really went all out to give value because it was all done somewhat on the fly. I didn't really feel that I'd given the kind of value that I wanted to give. To be truthful with you, I hated it. I hated the whole thing. I hated all the webinars. I hated the recordings. It sounded to me like a horrible mess, and I didn't want to put it out. I wanted to hold it back. If I'd have done that on my own, it would have gone in the bin. But because I had an agreement with Nathan, we had to put it out. So Nathan put it out to his people, his Keys to the Mind people. I don't even think I let anyone on my own list know it existed initially. I was just sort of slightly embarrassed by it. And it went out there and it got sold, and it sold very well. And then I started to get all this feedback that was incredible feedback from people saying what a huge difference it made. In fact, it was some of the best feedback I'd ever had on anything I'd ever released. And then across the next few years, I constantly kept meeting people that would say, "Oh wow, that Create Instant Change that you made, it was a game changer for me. It changed everything. I've used it in my corporate trainings," and people were taking it right outside of the box because it was about change work, and there were people applying it in all sorts of different areas, and it blew me away, frankly, because I thought it was rubbish. But people loved it. People got a lot from it. And to this day, people still say to me, Create Instant Change was a huge thing for me. So that was a great learning for me because I learned that I cannot be trusted to judge the quality of my own content. Now, this is a hugely important thing because one of the things that holds people back from putting their ideas out there is the sense ahead of the time that they have to get the idea ready, they have to get it perfect. They have to squirrel themselves away in a corner, coming up with this wonderful thing. And when it's ready, they can bring it to the world. But the problem with this is you don't get any feedback on the quality, and you're left there to be evaluating yourself whether things are good enough. Not everybody has this block, but a lot of people do. So they work endlessly trying to get the thing good enough, and it never meets their expectations, and it fizzles away into nothing. Or maybe they do work on it. Maybe they go the other way and they think it's absolutely great and they put it out in the world and nobody's interested. So both of these things are a mistake. One of the things about this creative desire we're talking about here for bringing things into being is you want to bring things into being and into the consciousness of many people. And this means putting things out there before you have any idea of the value of it. Now, if you think about it, you're all here on this webinar, and I didn't know whether I was going to be doing this webinar ahead of time. The Power of 8 group that I'm doing, that was a notion. It was an idea. It's an idea I thought I'd really enjoy doing that. I've got a lot I'd love to share. I'd love to see people developing themselves, and I'd love to make this accessible. So, but I don't know if anybody's interested. So I put the 10 Years of Freedom video out. And the 10 Years of Freedom puts the idea out into the world. It's not my business to judge the value of that idea. And it's not your business to judge the value of your ideas. You have to take your ideas out there. Be bold, be willing to bring these things into the world and let them be judged. And let them be judged. Because it's only then that you know whether an idea's got legs, whether it's something that people want to engage with, whether it's going to serve people or not. It's only when you take it out there. You don't get to know that. So, if you don't take stuff out there first, when it's in its kind of raw nebulous form, you can either end up caught in a perfectionism loop and never getting the thing done, or spend a lot of time and work putting something together that actually people are not interested in. So this creativeness, this desire, this creative drive, this desire to bring things into the world, for me is a hugely important thing. And listen to that. It's the desire to bring things into the world, to bring things into being, not to sit quietly in a drawer as a set of ideas, but to be out there in the world, in front of people, giving people a permission to judge those ideas. Now that's a scary thing for a lot of people, but if you're going to get out there and you're going to be a creator in the world, that's something you're going to have to get used to, is putting your stuff out there, putting yourself out there to be judged, and putting your ideas out there to be judged. Now, if, as I say that, you have a pang of fear, that is a very human thing. It's a very human thing. My first mentor in what I would call the extended game or the big game, I did a video on this, the small game versus the big game. One of the things that he taught me was, he said, when you get into this, you have to give people a passport to judge you. You have to give people a passport to judge, a license to judge you. And this is a thing that most people are avoiding doing. So he said this, you have to give people a license to judge you. And he said, when you do, some people are going to absolutely love you. And some people are going to hate your guts, and they're going to hate every idea that you have. Get over it. Those were his words. So it was with some trepidation when I started to put my ideas out into the world, because I'm a human being and we don't want to be judged most of the time. Most of the time we hang back, we lay low, we avoid giving people that license to judge us. And I have to say as well, I will say this, I didn't mention this in the 10 Years of Freedom video, but during my time putting my ideas out in the world and having people judge them, this has been a huge vehicle for personal development as well. It's not just about making the money or anything like that. It's been a huge vehicle for personal development, for personal transformation, for being able to be more grounded in myself and having people judge me and being okay with that, right? So, you know, there are hidden benefits to making the choice to drive your own bus in life and go out there in the world and take your ideas to the world and take yourself to the world and give the world license to judge you. And I'm not saying it's been a smooth ride. I'm not saying it has. There's been times where I've had to do some deep reflection. There's some times where I've had the input of coaches who have helped me get over lumps and bumps and sticking points, but it is absolutely worth it on every level. So that's what we're talking about here with creativeness, more the creative drive. It's the desire to bring your ideas into the world, into being, and the businesses and all of the things that you want to build, the lifestyle you want. It's the desire to bring that into being as well that's absolutely essential. So that's attribute or quality number 2. Quality number 3 is tenacity. Tenacity. This is about getting in the game and staying in the game. Okay? Now, I've said this elsewhere. I often teach people there is only one success strategy that works. There is only one. And it is simply this. You get in the game, you stay in the game, and you adapt. That's it. That's the only success strategy that works. One of the things that's become apparent to me, as I say, I have a lot of friends and colleagues out there in the world who are out there. They are creators in their own right. This is what they do. I always ask people, I really want to get to know, how did you do it? What's your secret? What are your strategies? I can tell you this. No two people do it exactly the same. No two people do it exactly the same. So the only thing that everybody has in common is they got in the game, they stayed in the game, and they adapted. They stayed in the game and they adapted. And I truly believe, and sometimes, it's a roller coaster ride. I'm not saying it's a smooth curve all the way up. There are misfires. There are things that go wrong. There are mistakes. I want to say something about this right now, by the way. Let's face it, life isn't smooth. It's messy. It's got lumps and bumps, and not everything works. When you take your ideas out into the world, some of them will not fly. They won't fly, but that's okay. That's the way it is. That's the way it goes. If only 50% of your ideas fly and 50% of them bomb, you're going to do extremely well. Hell, maybe only 1 in 10 of your ideas will fly. But the fact is, if you get in the game, you stay in the game, you'll get these ideas that fly, and you will hone your craft as you adapt. So tenacity is important. And this is a huge thing because it means we need to tap into our desire. It means we need to tap into our inspiration, and it means we need to tap into our motivation. Now, I want to say something that relates here to the Power of 8 group that I'm doing. The Power of 8 group works on many levels. So I'm going to be helping people develop as individuals, as individual leveraged practitioners. I'm going to be helping them develop their intellectual property. I'm going to be helping them develop what I call their mimetic body, which is the ideas that people have about them that exist in the consciousness of the marketplace out there, you see. Because here's the thing, I'm speaking to you right now. You're not here because you know me, right? Nobody knows me, nobody knows you, nobody knows any of us. But the people who do know us and know of us have a set of ideas about us. And when we're looking to create into the world, one of the things we want to be doing is we want to be shaping the ideas that people hold about us. So this is creating what I call our mimetic body. It's an act of deliberate and conscious creation, and we want it to be congruent with who we are at our core. Okay, we're not faking it till we make it. We're bringing through a true essence, but shaping it into the world in a particular way. So this is, I'm helping people with these things. Where this is the Power of 8 group, is coaching people with these aspects. And there's some simple stuff as well, like strategies. What do you actually do? How do you get your messages out there? How do you build the kind of online architecture you need? All of this kind of thing. Not that this is about tech stuff, because it's not. But underneath of that, you're a human being, right? You're a human being, so your productivity counts. And here's the thing. If you're trying to push a rock up a hill because you're feeling flat, you're feeling unmotivated, you're feeling like you can't do it because you're running an unconscious self-narrative that says, I think this is too, beyond my capability. If you've got all of that going on, you're scuppered. So one of the most important things that we're working on in the Power of 8 group is making sure that people stay connected to their desire, stay in a place of inspiration, high vibration states, and we take care of motivation. Because who hasn't suffered with procrastination? Who hasn't suffered with failing to stay focused, drifting off the path rather than staying on the path to creating what you want? We're human beings. We're human beings. So sometimes we need to take care of this stuff. Sometimes we need to look at what is it that's keeping me from being in my inspiration? What is it that's keeping me from being driven by my desire to take action in the world? Because it comes up. So this is a hugely important thing when it comes to staying in the game. Because people get out the game when they start to run unconscious narratives that I can't do it, I don't have the ability, I'm not good enough for X, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too blonde, I'm too whatever crappy story that they make up. We all can end up running these crappy stories. So I want you to know that that's a very human thing, and it is a very transcendable thing. So this is a key part of the group. It's not just about strategies, tactics, developing your intellectual property, developing yourself, as in the mimetic body. It's also about what's going on at your core in terms of your personal psychology, motivation, attitude, and mindset. So tenacity is a hugely important thing. So point number 4 on here is ownership. Ownership. I have a video series, a short video series, which I ran. I actually got more videos which I can add to it if I crank it back up again. on reality hacks. So I put this reality hacks idea out there. By the way, here's an example of putting ideas out in the world. I put the reality hacks idea out. People liked it, but viewership on that dwindled. So I stopped doing that series, and I'll change it up and do something different, or if it's popular demand comes up, I'll bring it back. But the first video, the first reality hacks video, was on the owner-victim distinction. And this is a huge aspect of attitude, because let me just share that distinction with you here quickly. A victim is somebody who habitually and unconsciously sorts for where they cannot make a difference in life, where the odds are stacked against them, where they're stuck, where there's a problem, where there's whatever. They're people that are always looking for their reasons for not being able to do things, their reasons for being stuck. This is called a victim mentality or attitude. It's not the same as actually being the victim of a crime or something like that. You know, shit happens in life. That's a fact. But the question is, how do you meet that? Do you meet that by looking for where you cannot make a difference, victim thinking, or do you meet that looking for where you can make a difference, where you do have power? This is ownership thinking. This is the ownership mindset. Being an owner means always looking to where you can make a difference, always connecting to your power. Because here's the thing, in any set of circumstances in life, there are places within that where you cannot make a difference, and there are places within that you can. There are always places where you have power, and there are always places where you do not, in any set of circumstances, any set. So ownership is an important key driver here, because people coming from a victim place are not going to cut it when it comes to taking themselves, their abilities, their ideas, their talents. And I use that term, by the way, not to suggest innate talents, but to suggest the things that you can uniquely do that you've developed. You're not going to make it taking that stuff to the world if you're going to be looking at all the blocks and grinding yourself down with I can't all the time. So ownership is important. And here's the thing. I'm not making a judgment here, because we are all human beings. We are all human beings, and we are all quite capable of feeling despondent. We are all quite capable of falling into toxic trances of thinking the world is stacked against us, or we can't do it, or whatever. I get it. We're all human beings. So that means that we're not always necessarily coming from a place of ownership until we are. But we all can. And ownership is a quality that you can develop. My old mentor, Steve Chandler, said ownership isn't a place to get to, it's a place to come from. But you can come from it more and more and more. You can develop your ability to come from ownership. And this is one of the important things about working with people, with coaches, with mentors, with peers who can support you. Because imagine as a human being, you are filled with two substances. The substance of I can't and the substance of I can. Right? There's these two substances. And you're always going to have some makeup of these. Maybe you've got 80% I can and 20% I can't. Maybe you've got 100% I can. Maybe it's the other way round. Right? But let's imagine you've got these two substances within you. And the more you align with one substance, the more it expands, and the more the other one sort of dwindles away. So what you want to do within yourself is you always want to be aligning with your I can, right? Now this can be a tricky thing, because a lot of your friends and your family and the people you know are going to, not for bad reasons, usually outside of consciousness, maybe even for really good reasons. They're going to ally with the small side of you, with the I can't. You're going to say, I got this fantastic idea, and they go, really? Do you honestly think it would work? Well, that sounds like a terrible risk, but and they're going to ally with playing it safe. They're going to ally with laying low. They're going to ally with I better not do that, with you better not do that, with I can't, right? And so that substance ends up growing, and you end up staying safe and staying stagnant and not really stepping out into your stretch zone where you're really going to start creating differences in your life. This is why, if you want to really grow, and I'm not trying to, obviously I do coaching and I'm talking about the Power of 8 group here. There's no rule in the universe that says you have to get coaches or you have to get mentors. But here's the thing. If you haven't got some allies in your life, you're going to have to be super super on top of it, because there's only going to be one ally that you're going to have that you can constantly rely on, and that's you. And do you know what? I can't constantly rely on myself as an ally. Sometimes I feel I'm pretty good. You know, I've learned to manage my own mind, my own attitudes, my own states, but I like to hang with people who are going to go, James, yeah, you can do this. This is why I have peers. This is why I have mentors. This is why I have coaches, because I want to be aligning with the I can. Because this is an important part, going back to the idea of the creative desire. If I want to bring things into the world, I've got to believe that I can bring them into the world. If I want to make a difference, I've got to believe that I can make a difference. So I've got to be in this ownership place. So a huge part of the Power of 8 group is keeping people connected with their ownership, keeping people developing this ownership side, keeping people alive with the, do you know what, I can do this, and I am doing this, and I will do this. So ownership is a hugely important thing. And then this final crazy word that I made up, I'm regretting it already, developmentiality. Developmentiality. The quality of developmentalness. This means having an attitude of always learning, always growing, always developing. And specifically, for me, it's about individuating as well. Let me explain what this term individuating means. A big influence on me is Carl Jung. Now, I don't pretend to be a Jungian scholar or anything like that, but one of the things that I really got from Carl Jung, if I go back to my NLP training days and this kind of thing, I was really very constructivist. I thought that who we were was almost entirely a sort of social construction, and there wasn't really a true us. Our identity was this whole mind-made thing. And that is kind of true in some ways. But it is mind-made, but it's mind-made out of certain raw materials. And I've started to see across time that we do have individual qualities and traits, not in a way that they can be easily recognized, because the kind of archetypal qualities that want to come through us in the particular way that they want to come through us are beyond words and description. How we meet those and how we make those up, how we create ourselves into the world is important, but the raw materials are going to be uniquely us. So what individuation means is it means bringing through everything that you are and everything that you can be in a unique way that meets the world powerfully and creates the kind of results that you want to create in your life. So it's about becoming uniquely you, but it isn't about discovering you. There's still a process of creation, of participation in this individuation. Now, this is a huge thing, because if you do not grow, if you're not constantly learning, you are not going to be constantly creating new ideas, new frames, new concepts, new possibilities. You won't be moving, you'll be stagnating, and it's very difficult to be a creator from that place. So this tendency towards ongoing development, refining your ideas, refining your understanding, exploring new domains, bringing the understandings from new domains into domains that you're already established in, all of this kind of stuff, it's part of creating yourself as the individual that you are, but it also feeds into creating the offerings that you're making in the world. So this developmentiality, this word I can barely even say, although I'm getting a bit more used to it now, is a hugely important thing. So those are the 5 key qualities: curiosity, creativeness, tenacity, ownership, and developmentiality. Now, what I want to say is these are quite sort of high-level conceptual things, and whilst the Power of 8 Hypno Creators group is about coaching you and developing you as a person, as a creator in these ways. It's not just about this. It's not just about this. It's not a pure self-development program. There's self-development aspects to it, because you need to become the person who creates the kind of results that you want to create. This is that last point, developmentiality, who you are becoming. Never sacrifice who you are becoming for who you think that you are. Okay, this is a hugely important thing. But on another level, there's also the basic pragmatics. So if you're listening to this and you go, do you know what, this is what I want to do, I love this stuff. I love hypnosis. I love NLP. I love brain wrangling. I love pragmatic psychology. And I don't love working for somebody else doing some job that doesn't mean anything to me. And I'm not saying you are, by the way, but if you are and you want to get away from that, or maybe you've already got away from that, but you're looking to take what you're doing to the next level, I would invite you to, well, look, here's the thing. I'm not going to sell this to you. There's no point. There really is no point. If I had to sell this to you, it wouldn't be the right group for you. This is an offering. It's going to resonate with you or it's not. But one of the things I want to make, so I do want to give you information about it. I don't want to sell it to you, but I want to give you information. So it's developmental coaching, but it's also strategy. It's also tactics. It's also coaching out your ideas, your own uniqueness. It's also having a group of people that say, hey, that's a good idea. Do you realize how good that idea is? You could really do something with that. So what are you going to be doing next? So it's about keeping this focus on creating. I want to make this absolutely clear. This is not a group for people that just want to come along and sort of sit in the background and maybe get some cool new frames on things. This is a group for people who want to create stuff in the world. They want to bring their ideas into the world. They want to create themselves as a leveraged practitioner. They want to create multiple income streams. And they want to make this difference. And we are coaching at every level and mentoring at every level, because the mentoring side is about me sharing things that I've learned, things that I know work, sharing things that I've learned from other people as well. And this means developing your own intellectual property. I'm going to help you do that. I'm going to help you get your ideas together. I'm going to help you become clear about who you are and what's unique to you, with you, because you're not going to see that well for yourself. It's very, very difficult to see that for yourself. So I'm going to help you with these things. I'm going to help you with the strategy, what needs to happen in what order. I want to help you know all the time what it is that you're doing, what it is that you're working on, what the next step is. Right? This is about clarity. This is about knowing what needs to be done, knowing the direction that you're going in. And it's about staying on the path. So if this sounds like it's something that you would like to do, I want to make it clear as well. I'm going to put a link after the fact, but I don't even need to do it because you're listening to this now. You can send me an email on james@hypnosiswithouttrance.com saying why you want to do this. But I am going to put a link through to an information page, and it's going to say much of what I've been saying here. So this is a 6-month coaching program, group. There will be 8 people and 8 people only. We will meet 18 times in a virtual meeting space across 6 months, and we will work as a group, and we will coach everybody in the group, and we will coach each other. We will bring these ideas out. We will get you getting clarity about who you are and what you're bringing into the world. In addition to that, you will be able to ask me any questions at any time, and I will create ongoing resources for the group. There will be an ongoing resource library based on the questions you ask, the things that you want to know. I will also provide for you templates on how to do things. One of the things that really got me going to start with was some simple lists of do this, then do this, then do this, then do this. Sometimes you don't want your uniqueness coached out of you. You just want follow these steps and get this result. So there's some of that in the mix as well. And it's called the Power of 8 group because I'm keeping it to 8 people only. 8 people only. 8 is a lucky number in Chinese, by the way, because the Chinese word for 8 is very similar to the Chinese word for wealth. So that's got nothing to do with that. I only discovered that after I'd chosen the 8. That was an instinctive number. And it is, this time, it is 888 UK pounds for it. And this is the first time I'm trialling this group. I don't know if we'll do it again. If we do it again, it won't be £888, so it will be 10% more than that. So if you want to get on it this time, do so. But here's the thing. It's important you understand this. I have not put up a payment button for this. There's no payment button for it. And the reason I haven't put up a payment button for it is because I don't want 8 random people paying to be on this in this group, and then they get on, and it seems like there are tourists or people who are not really willing to step outside of their comfort zone or any of this kind of thing. So I'm requesting that if you want to do this, you write to me, you email me or Facebook Messenger, I don't care how you get in contact, tell me something about yourself. Tell me where you are at right now. Tell me where you want to be. Tell me why you want to be in this group. Okay, I'm not doing a formal application form, but I do want to hear from people, because I'm going to get the sense of whether or not, if you send me an email, whether or not I think you'll be a good fit for the group. And that's not some kind of exclusivity thing. I really do want people who come on this to be people who are really quite sincere about wanting to up their game, develop their extended game, and start connecting their uniqueness to the world, and really making a difference for themselves and the people that they love in their lives, creating the income streams that you want, creating the life that you want. This is about doing stuff. And I want to get doers on. And I get that, as you say, that there may be a part of you which is hanging back, a part of you which is a bit nervous or a bit scared. That would be absolutely fine, right? Because what I'm inviting you to do is play a bigger game, to step up, take more into the world, give the world a license to judge you. And this can be scary stuff. This is why the group exists, to support you in doing that, in taking that bold step. And I want to make sure that the group is a good fit for you and you are a good fit for the group. So I think that's probably pretty much all you need. I will add, after the fact, once this webinar is over, I'll add a link to the webinar page where you can go through, you can read through some simple information. I haven't really done a sales page or anything, because as I say, I don't want to sell this to you. If I have to sell it to you, you're probably not the right person for the group. If you get what it's about and you go, yes, right now, this time, this place in my life, this is the direction I want to go in, I don't need to sell it to you, so it's not really a sales page. But you'll also find on there the actual specific dates of when all of the live meetings will be across the next 6 months. So you might want to check in and check that they're going to fit with your schedule. If you have to miss one or two, that's okay, but I would discourage it strongly. Really, be on the course. If you intend to kind of miss them all and catch up with recordings, well, I guess that's your business if you want to do that. And if you're doing that and you're still out there and you're still making things happen, that's absolutely great. But I really do want everybody that does this group to come out at the end of the 6 months that we do this at another level of engaging with the world, with new irons in the fire, new possibilities, new things coming together, with increased income, this kind of thing. I want this to be a game changer for everybody that participates. So I'm going to put the link through. You'll get some information on there. And if you scroll down on the page when I put the link on, you'll find that there's a comment section at the end. And you can ask any questions that you want, because I haven't written a lot of sales copy. And there may be things that I've neglected to address that you want answers to. So I want you to be empowered to ask the questions that you want to ask on that page. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly check in. I didn't invite people to do questions, but there is a question section on there. But being as I didn't invite people to do questions, I'm not expecting any, but just in case any have snuck through. No, that's good. So there are no questions on at the moment, but if you do want to make use of the question section on the linked through page, which I will put on within 5 minutes of this call completing, then please do make use of that. Okay, so thank you very much for everybody, and there are a large number of people who have got on this and they've stayed on this. I've been feeling a bit off colour this evening, and my head is a bit thick with coldiness, so I'm hoping that I've been as clear as I would like to be in communicating what I want to communicate here. But if you do have any questions, do find a way of asking. If you do want to do the Power of 8 group, you want to send me an email on james@hypnosiswithouttrance.com or Facebook Messenger me. Just tell me where you're at, why you want to do this, and we'll move forward from there. Thank you very much indeed. Enjoy the rest of your day or your evening, and we will continue this conversation as and when we do.